Good day. I don't know if you're watching this in the evening, morning, or afternoon, but I hope you're having a great day. And I know I'm having a good day. I got my coffee, got my skeletal muscle model right here. So I mean, what could go wrong, right? So let me refill with my caffeine here. Welcome to Biology 179. And this is a week late in terms of having an intro video, but I hope you're enjoying the course so far. This video is going to introduce you to the skeletal muscle a little bit. We're going to talk about some muscles and some joints, and I'll talk about the module that you're seeing in front of you. First thing I want to dive into, though, is your lab teams. Make sure you know who your team is, how to access your teams, and that you've started on that prosthetic lab, because you guys, that's due the 18th, and I don't want you to get behind. So I'm filming this on the 8th. You got 10 days till it's due from now. So hopefully you're working on that, and I'll be posting an announcement. To access your teams, if you look on the left-hand side of my screen that I'm showing you, it says groups. If you click on that, your lab team will show up, and you can go to your own lab team space. Only you have access to it. And you guys can discuss, you can create Google Docs, whatever, to figure out your prosthetic lab assignment to turn in. Okay, and that's tied to your team. Only one person needs to turn that in. All right, so what do you have ahead of you this week? All right, you got some readings and videos to watch on muscles. Okay, now we're going to try to cram skeletal muscle into 1 week, basically. So some of the videos I'm giving you are more in depth than I want you to know, which is why I'll show you a document in a second where I've outlined what specifically you need to know. Okay, this is not a human anatomy physiology course for medical field. This is a intro course about the body and exercise. So I don't expect you to know it to that level, but I've given your learning objectives and I've matched the assignments to those. Okay, so the first thing you're going to work on, though, is a skeletal muscle anatomy and function lab. Basically, you're going to watch some videos, answer some questions. It's not a super exciting lab. Okay, we're going to have some more exciting stuff in the future that we will be designing some labs for. Oh, I thought I had a sneeze coming. Apologize if I sneeze at some point during this. You'll have some other videos there to watch on muscular contraction. Okay, and when we talk about muscular contraction, there's two different levels to look at muscular contraction. Okay. Like right now with this arm here up here, you can see with this model, if he bends it, okay, this is a contraction the way we think of it, like you're contracting your muscles, right? You're moving your muscles, okay? And you have concentric and eccentric contractions, okay? So when you shorten the muscle, basically, when you close the degrees of angle in your joint, that is a concentric contraction. It's part of what we call isotonic contractions, where you have movement of the joint. Okay. Eccentric would be when I am going away and lengthening the muscle. So if he was holding dumbbell and let his arm fully straighten out, like we do slowly sometimes with bicep curls with a dumbbell, right? That's an eccentric contraction. You're lengthening the muscle fibers. So those are macro muscular contractions. Okay, you have isotonic, which is where you actually move the joint to create a muscular contraction. Okay, and isotonic's made up of that concentric and eccentric, and you'll see all these things in your readings. Isometric contractions would be when you, like if I literally just tighten and don't move anything. Like right now I'm flexing my muscles and I just hold it. That's an isometric. If I'm pushing against the wall and hold it, that's isometric. Wall sits in many ways could be isometric. Okay, so there's isometric contractions, but those are at the macro level, meaning I'm just looking at the full body and muscles. If we were on the Magic School Bus and we dove down and made a cut and went down inside the muscle, okay, it might sting a little bit, but we got injected, you know, if you ever watch Magic School Bus, maybe they got injected in a needle into his muscle, and we were to go explore these muscles, we can get down into the fibers, the muscle cells, okay, thousands of muscle fibers in here. We can go down to those muscle fibers, and there's these little units called sarcomeres, which is basically a bunch of proteins. Okay, there's a bunch of proteins in there. And these proteins interact molecularly to contract. They actually tighten up, and they create tension, and that's what allows our muscles to perform forceful functions, movements, work, okay, if we want to use physics terms. All right, but those proteins actually have to contract, okay? So there's a sarcomere contraction, and then there's the full muscle contraction, okay? So just make sure you pay attention to that when you're doing your readings. There's microscopic contractions inside a muscle, and there's macro contractions of the muscle, okay? So you're going to learn about those in these videos. All right, now again, some of these videos are going to go more in depth than you need to know, but it's okay to see the depth so you understand what's actually going on there. It's okay to just appreciate the complexities of our body and our muscles and really all our systems, because oftentimes I don't think we do that well enough and understand. And then a lot of times in social media, in the media in general, in what we believe, we just believe anything we see or hear or read about the body without really fully understanding the complexities and questioning some of the stuff we hear, which we should be doing. Because there's a lot of garbage information out there around health and nutrition and exercise in regards to the human biology. And we'll deal with some of those myths. I'll bring those in as we dive through this quarter. So as you work through your readings and that first lab activity, you'll get down to pre-lab number 2, okay? And you'll do that lab, and then you have your exercise and skeletal muscle adaptations, okay? Your week 2 quiz skeletal muscle, prosthetic lab, and case study segment number 1 you will finish up. So the prosthetic lab and case study number 1 are carryovers from module 1, week 1. Okay, so make sure you are paying attention to that. And week 2 quiz is based on the learning objectives and assignments I've given you. Okay, have your notes out, have those things out when you're taking the quiz. All right, and if it's a fill in the blank answer, if it doesn't match the answer keys we put in there, it'll mark it wrong. We go either Marquesa, Gilson, or I, because she's the lab instructor and I'm the lecture instructor by contract, but we're team teaching this course. She or I will go in there and grade those fill in the blanks to make sure that you get your points. Okay, so if you see something, just give it a few days before you email us about it. Not that I'm concerned about an email, just understand that if it marked it wrong, we will be checking it and grading it. So don't stress about that. All right, that's your week 2 in a nutshell. Now, how will you remember all this? Because I just said a lot of things, and you're probably like, crap, I couldn't write all that down. What did he say about isotonic? What were all those things? Goodness sakes. So week 2 explained. Okay, we have right here. You can take a look at some of the general learning objectives I want you to know. This will put it on there. It talks about what you should know for pre-lab 2, for quiz number 2, and this intro video is sitting there. So you should already be at this page anyways, but make sure you're using this page as a guide for what you need to do for week 2 and being successful in this course. I get it. There's a lot of content in this course, and it may be overwhelming, but trust me when I say that you can get a really, really, really good grade in this class, no problem. Okay, we give out a lot of A's in this class. You just got to do the work. If you'll do the work, you'll be successful, and you'll learn a lot of information by the end of this quarter that will, I believe, will be helpful as you move forward. And if you're going to go into the personal training certificate, it will help you in terms of taking that test and moving on. Okay. So now, why do I have these muscle models? Let's talk a little bit about skeletal muscle. Okay. Now, skeletal muscle is really cool because, one, it's diverse, even though it doesn't maybe seem like it. Okay, and when I say diverse, is skeletal muscles are made up of different muscle fibers. So we have some muscle fibers and you can have all types in one muscle. Some muscle fibers are designed for quick, explosive, boom movements. Like if I'm in a squat and I have to go boom and explode up. If all of a sudden my kid wanders in the street and I got to sprint out there and grab him. I have muscle fibers that are specifically designed for those quick, explosive movements. Okay, and because of that, they don't use traditional energy production methods. For example, they don't require oxygen to perform, okay? And that's because it would take too long to basically initiate the ATP process for those muscle fibers to kick in. And that would mean my kid wouldn't get out of the road in time, or I wouldn't be able to explode the way I need to, okay? And I can continue to train those fibers and recruit more fibers to fill those needs. We also have, and we'll learn more about that as we get into to the areas. But we also have fibers that don't really fatigue at all. Okay, and they use predominant traditional methods of ATP production, which is our form of energy. And those would be the ones like your core muscles that are active all day. Okay, and then we have ones in the middle there that kind of fatigue, but they're able to work out for long periods of time and exercise. And the ones that are explosive fatigue really quickly. And those are found all over in different muscles. Okay, now when we look at this body, you're going to have to identify in your labs and stuff different muscles. Okay, now when we look at this model here, right, we have a variety of muscles. We can just talk about some of the general ones you probably use all the time. Pectoralis major right here. This one right here. Okay, you can see how it attaches in next to the sternum here and the clavicle. Okay, which is this bone up here. Okay, if we were to peel this away with which we do in the cadaver behind me, the cadaver room's back here. But for my anatomy physiology class, I dissect cadavers. So if I were to take a scalpel and peel this away and flip it up, underneath it would be the pectoralis minor. Okay, and it would be a smaller flap. So you have pectoralis major and pectoralis minor. Those are your chest muscles. That's what those guys, everybody that's in the gym trying to pump up their chest, that's what they're working out. Okay, trying to get their pectoralis major and minor built up. That's why we also call them pecs, right? That's where that name comes from. Okay, the other muscle body that everybody loves to talk about and stand in the gym and look in the mirror and work out, they can watch their arms get bigger, is our biceps brachii. Okay, and I have another bigger arm here, so watch out. Okay, biceps brachii right here. Now, there's far more muscles in the arm than just biceps brachii. Okay, you have a brachialis that runs underneath the biceps brachii. You have a brachioradialis that runs over here. So there's a lot more going on there. But the biceps brachii, that's why everybody loves to stand in the mirror and do those curls so they can see their biceps, right? Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. So the other thing that it'd be interesting the other thing that's interesting you should know about terminology and about muscles is why we call things certain things. So brachii or brachii refers to the arm, this region. Okay, we also have a brachial plexus, which is nerves. Okay, so brachii refers to the arm. Biceps refers to the fact that it has two heads. It has two basic kind of bodies or bellies of this muscle. Okay, so biceps, they're called the heads. That's why it's called bi for two. So biceps brachii, two-headed arm muscle, basically. Okay, back of the arm, triceps. So triceps brachii, arm muscle, three heads. So it's a three-headed arm muscle. We didn't say posterior, but it's on the posterior of the arm, right? So if you want to work out, if you want to do an isotonic contraction with the triceps, a lot of time an overhead tricep extension, right, is one you can do that will work this muscle. Okay, right? We're putting this muscle in a situation where it has to use force. Okay, we're straining that muscle. We're breaking the protein down a little bit, and it's going to build back stronger, all right, to be able to perform that workout. We're telling our body there's a need there, okay? And we'll talk more about that when we get to the nervous system because there's a lot of neural adaptations that happen right after you work out, okay? Other muscles, you got your six-pack right here that everybody likes to try to get ready for June. It's going to be probably tougher this year to get your six-pack ready considering everything's been shut down and everybody's sitting down and drinking coffee and eating food and what else you might do. And then underneath the six-pack, you actually have a few different types of abdominal muscles and next to them. So you have your obliques that are run on the sides of your body. And so the obliques are here. You have external obliques and internal obliques. Okay, the external lay over the top of the internal. And then you have transverse abdominis that runs under all of those across. It's kind of a belt that runs under those and helps hold everything in. And if I were to just slice through that, your intestines would fall out. Your intestines are right underneath that. They're covered by a membrane we call the peritoneum, but they're right underneath that. Okay? And then you have your quad muscles, okay, and your hamstrings. I'm not going to go into all these, but, quadriceps, we have 4 of them, okay? You have adductor muscles on the inside here, okay? that means when we say adductor, they bring muscles back there. They bring the legs back to the middle. Okay. Abductors, they are on the outside. They take the legs away from the midline. So just remember that. And then on the back side, some of the main muscles you might have heard or talked about. We have our glutes. Okay, you have your gluteus maximus. Okay, gluteus medius and minimus. Okay, so you actually have 3 glute muscles that make up your back side there. Okay, and then you have your hamstrings. Hamstrings have 3 muscles in that group. Okay, and then you have your quads, your calf muscles. Okay, and you have your gastrocnemius, which is the one that you can kind of see the most when people flex their calf. It's that big ball. But underneath it, you have the soleus, which kind of isn't really shown easily on here. But your soleus runs underneath, and they both come down. There we go. I can take it off and show it here. So the soleus runs underneath, and they come down together to make the calcaneal or Achilles tendon, which attaches to the bottom of your calcaneus, which is your heel. Okay. Another one that you might hear in exercise and athletics is your IT band. You've heard about your IT band. Well, that's also called the iliotibial tract. So it runs from your iliac crest here down to your tibia. So it's iliotibial. And what that is a dense connective tissue. And it's really tough and strong. And so if you've ever had an IT band massage or whatever, it can be super painful because all that can get really tight and it pulls on your back and it pulls on your knee and create a lot of pain in there. Okay. And which is another reason why it's really important to stretch and drink water all the time. And I'm very bad at stretching in terms of sticking to it. Not the best model there, but it's something you should do. Okay. It's good for your body. It's good for your muscles. And in order to do that, you got to drink lots of water as well. Okay, so there's plenty more muscles there. You'll have to identify them in your labs and make sure you stick to looking at what you need to know in week 2. It's in the modules. I look forward to seeing your work in your prosthetic lab. Those are always fun, and what your team comes up with. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget to email me or Marquesa if you have questions. Call us, reach out to us. Get the help you need, talk to your teammates. I look forward to the rest of this quarter. You'll be getting more videos like this of me. Sometimes I might be on a treadmill. I might be hooked up to a blood pressure machine. We're going to do all sorts of stuff. And I might have some labs where you're having to analyze some of my data from my exercise tests. So stay after it and enjoy your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.